for joining us today back here at Gazelle Sports. We're going to talk about apparel for a few minutes to keep your hind end warm out on the run. First thing we're going to talk about, literally, is your hind end. We want to make sure that our underwear that we're wearing is appropriate, polyester or wicking material, so that we keep water and chafing away. And this is a piece of CWX apparel that we put out. CWX does compression apparel, and ultimately compression is an option. What compression does, very simply, is it helps to oxygenate your cells, and at the same time it keeps the muscles attached to the bones. So while this type of a piece for men and women keeps you warm, it also is going to move away moisture so you don't chafe, and compression is also an option for people. So keep that in mind as we move through this apparel section. The next piece we're going to talk about today is base layers. Base layers are basic polyester pieces. They move moisture away from the body, and they basically don't like water. So as you sweat out of your pores, these materials will pull that sweat from the inside of the garment to the outside of the garment, allowing your skin to stay dry. And for us, what that does is keeps us from getting wind chill factors and things like that that can cause us some type of cold issues, both for men and women out on our runs. So keep that in mind when you go out, that a base layer is probably the most important piece because it touches your skin. The next piece is a thermal layer. Thermal layers are normally and have always been beginning with fleece. And so fleece is an opportunity for us. As we know, fleece, it's very furry and very shaggy, and fleece works by holding in your warmth that you create with your body against your skin. And so basically fleece for us as humans is basically like a dog's hair or fur. And so we want to make sure that we have something on our bodies that's going to take our heat that we create while we run and keeps it against us. A lot of times what's happening now with fleece is that they're taking the fleece and they're basically cutting it in a way that gives us more what we consider to be dead airspace. It's a big concept, but basically it works again like fur, and they do this man-made so that it works all the way throughout the body, so that these little checkerboard pieces will be warm on your chest as well as on your back. That's the goal of fleece now, and really any type of hand to the product. What's happening a lot of times now is that companies are beginning to realize that when a runner runs, they don't want to feel like they have too much on, too many pieces on, and so they want to be comfortable through their range of motion. Range of motion is important, and most running companies are acknowledging that by putting the thermal layer on the inside of jackets, and then the external layer being your outer layer or your wind shell and your rain shell on the outside. So now you can find pieces that are basically your thermal layer and your outer layer together. So that's something that we see more and more because it allows us to have less product on, less clothes on, meaning we're going to have better range of motion in our arms, and it makes us feel better as runners. The final layer, which again is your wind and rain shell, is going to be made of some type of polyester, so it enhances the motion of the water away from the skin, and it's going to keep the wind out at 100%. A lot of people think that these types of shells need to be waterproof, and what we talk about most of the time is highly water resistant. The difference is that waterproof is basically like wearing a bag on yourself, and so as you sweat from the inside, you kind of create your own ecosystem, which can get really gross over the duration of a run. With something like this, it's going to breathe, and it's going to hold water out up to, basically, if I was to put a fire hose on you for 10 minutes, you may get a little bit wet. But unless you see rain like that or snow like that, then you're not going to get wet. At the end of the day, if that's where you're at, in a place where you're going to be rained on like that, you should just probably stay inside. But because we don't believe in staying inside during Borges Run Camp or here at Gazelle Sports, get yourself a jacket that's going to keep the wind out in Michigan and keep the rain out too. Again, this is just an outer shell, kind of the last piece of the puzzle. Final couple things I want to go talk about for a moment is keeping yourself safe. First thing to keep yourself safe is something that lights up or something that shines. This material is called VisiPro. It's from a company named Saucony, and the only reason I bring it to your attention is that this you can see up to a mile away. So you'll see the silhouette of the human body, and usually cars are going to dodge the silhouette of a human body. A lot of times reflectivity will show just a little bit here or there on the body, maybe a line down your shirt or maybe a little bit on your shoes, and a lot of times cars have a hard time differentiating you from maybe a mailbox, for instance. So this type of thing, giving a full silhouette of the body, is going to be a little bit more important. The last thing to talk about is keeping our hands and head warm, and really our feet too. You lose quite a bit of heat off the top of your body. It's anywhere from 60 to 80% during our activities, and so we want to make sure that we have hats and gloves that are going to successfully keep our heat in. most of the time as we heat up, you're able to take these types of things off if you need to and store them in your pockets. They're very thin, they're very warm, and that's a great kind of accompaniment to the rest of the product that we just talked about. So when you're out running this winter, know that you don't need to be dressed in a snowmobile suit to feel comfortable, and also know that you can go out looking good in great fashion, but really at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're feeling good and that you're safe. So as you get into Borges Run Camp, enjoy yourself, have fun. If you have questions, please come and see us down here. Have a wonderful day.